Narrated Abu Huraira, while we were sitting with the Prophet, a man came and said, O Allah's Apostle, I have been ruined. Allah's Apostle asked what was the matter with him. He replied, I had sexual intercourse with my wife while I was fasting. Allah's Apostle asked him, Can you afford to manumit a slave? He replied in the negative. Allah's Apostle asked him, Can you fast for 2 successive months? He replied in the negative. The Prophet asked him, Can you afford to feed 60 poor persons? He replied in the negative. The Prophet kept silent, and while we were in that state, a big basket full of dates was brought to the Prophet. He asked, Where is the questioner? He replied, I am here. The Prophet said to him, Take this basket of dates and give it in charity. The man said, Should I give it to a person poorer than I? By Allah, there is no family between its, i.e. Medina's, 2 mountains, who are poorer than I. The Prophet smiled till his premolar teeth became visible and then said, Feed your family with it. Sahih Bukhari, number 1936. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, a man came to the Prophet and said, I had sexual intercourse with my wife on Ramadan, while fasting. The Prophet asked him, Can you afford to manumit a slave? He replied in the negative. The Prophet asked him, Can you fast for 2 successive months? He replied in the negative. He asked him, Can you afford to feed 60 poor persons? He replied in the negative. Abu Huraira added, Then a basket full of dates was brought to the Prophet, and he said to that man, Feed poor people with this by way of atonement. He said, Should I feed it to poorer people than we? There is no poorer house than ours between its, Medina's, mountains. The Prophet said, Then feed your family with it. Sahih Bukhari, number 1937. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih.